BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me and it's the first time you're seeing my face, hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So I hope that's why you're here, because that's what's gonna be happening today. If you're not new to me, thank you for always tuning in to team support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have kind of a difficult video. This is my reactions to negative reviews of my favorite books. This was elected on my community tab in the month of August for my viewer recommendation video, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of dreading it because I don't want to read negative reviews of my favorite books, but it's what you guys wanted, so here we go. I'm all comfy, I have my drink, so without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, because this is gonna be a long one, and I really wish this was alcohol. I should probably get alcohol. I don't know. Here it goes, guys. Let's get talking some books. Okay, so I have picked 5 of my favorite books, and I have gone onto Goodreads and opened up a page for each one of these books and went to the review section and clicked on 1-star reviews. Now, from the looks of this, some of these are hella long, so I probably will only be doing partial of the review, and then maybe moving to a new one and vice versa, and only doing a few reviews of each book. My videos are already very long to begin with, but this will also involve a lot of reading off my laptop. So please bear with me as we do this. For just personal sake, I am not going to be stating who left the review. If you want to go on Goodreads, that is how I came across the review, is I literally pick the filter for 1-star reviews, and I'm just going down in order, or skipping ones that are hella long, or ones that, like, you know, have one word on them. I'm just not a fan of those. So, but I have not seen any of these beforehand. I just have been, when I scrolled through them, just to kind of see how long they were, I realized a lot of these were really hella long. So I will do my best to keep this as entertaining as possible and not just me on camera reading out loud to you, because who wants that? But this is going to be reading stuff about my favorite books from people that didn't like these books, that gave them 1 star or even possibly DNF'd them at some point in time. So let's get started. The first, I had to get my comfy clothes on for this one, guys. We're going to be here a while. So the first book we're going to be doing is none other than my book of the year in 2022, which won my First Lady Award for Book of the Year, and that is Empire the Vampire by J. Kristoff. I brag about this book. I love this book. This was a 5-star book for me. I cannot get enough of this book. I cannot wait to reread this book, because the new one, the sequel, comes out next year in March, and I am so looking forward to this reread. I have turned so many people on this book. I've told so many people to read this book. I love this. This thing put vampires back on the map for me. I have a full book review of this book. I will link it here in the corner and the down box below. You can go check it out. Yes, it's easy to say that I love this book, and I'm about to read reviews of people who don't. Here we go, guys. You just sit right there. Okay, so the very first one, 1.25 stars, and the 0.25 is given incredibly reluctantly. This is an absolute dumpster fire of a book, and I'm going to do my best to articulate why in a concise and organized way, but honestly, the book made me so angry that I might go off the rails. First of all, I'm going to separate the problems I have with this book into 4 sections. The misogyny, the obsession with underage children, the humor, this book's hilarious. What the fuck? And lastly, the actual writing style of the story. Okay, I'm going to go to the humor section on this one first, because how can you say there's something wrong with the humor in this? All right. Number 3, the humor. On a more subjective note, the humor in this book is cringe as fuck. I grew up in Xbox Live lobbies, and it sounds like every 13-year-old asshole from back then. There are 4 main pillars of comedy in EOTV: dick jokes, prostitute jokes, yo mama jokes, and modern acronisms thrown into a medieval setting. Ouch. That's really it. The most notable of these, in my opinion, is the clear obsession with prostitutes. It's weird. Like a couple, sure, I get it, brothels exist. But he makes prostitutes the butt of jokes over and over again, makes weird analogies about prostitutes' vaginas because they're obviously always cis women, and just generally talks about them way more than normal. Another character actually points this out at one point, but it doesn't make it any less annoying that he continues to do it anyway. Gabriel's the worst fucking main character I've ever read. What? I love him. I love his snarky comments. Ah, she's not wrong. She's not wrong. Some of the jokes are kind of, there are some cringe jokes, but I like that humor. Maybe it's because I live with an Xbox player and I've heard him literally, like, I've heard him slam some people with some fucking comments that I'm used to it. Damn. Ouch. Boo. Like, ow. Damn. All right, we're going to go to another one. All right. This was from a reader who received this as an e-arc sampler in exchange for an honest review. Oh, crappy. Oh, here we go. Update. That's the first line. 9/6/21. I've stewed in my thoughts for a while now and I've decided to lower my rating completely? No, this is a review of the 400-page sampler I was provided, not the full book, which is around 800 pages. Okay, all right, we'll go with that. That's fine. This book is The Witcher meets The Interview with the Vampire meets Games of Thrones meets the movie Underworld. Yeah, I could buy that. I would agree with that. Maybe not so much The Witcher. Maybe the personality of Geralt and our hero. I could buy that. Yeah, I could get behind that. It is also violent as fuck. Yes. Bloody as fuck. Not wrong. Profane as fuck. Oh yeah. That's why I like it. And some would say, myself not being one of them, sexy as fuck. I would say sexy as fuck. Yes. This is not, in cap locks, a book for kids. No. Completely agree. A read to be taken lightly. Completely agree. The best vampire story I've ever seen. This thing put vampires back on the map for me, but I would not say it's the best vampire story ever told. So I would agree with that. But it's up there for me. It is up there of the vampire books I've read. It is up there. I am not one to shy away from crass language. I personally can have admittedly foul mouth, but here in Empire of the Vampire, the vulgarity is severe overkill. I can understand the necessity for world building and the characterization, but it's so fucking frequent to the point of absurdity. It took me out of the story often. Every sentence or spoken dialogue has some form of fuck, shit, and or other four-letter words. You're not wrong, but so is my vocabulary, so maybe that's why I like this book so much. The insults were always bully-some, playground-styled nonsense. It was unfortunate that for a fantasy novel, the author chose to resort to a high school-level profanity, which in turn made the adult content seem less intelligent and more immature. Show me a character as hardened and butch some other way. Seriously, all the macho male posture was fucking annoying and bullshit. I could see both sides. Yeah, there is a lot of cursing in this, but I curse a lot. And sometimes it's because the people I'm dealing with, if I use big articulated words, they don't understand it. And then I end up having to say, fuck you, you're an idiot anyway. So maybe that's what, our hero was trying to impress upon the reader, that he's dealing with fucking stupid people and that's the way they understand things. I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I enjoy it. This is in bold. Christoph promised us gay shit, and while I won't go into specifics, it was just more FF fetishization. And I'm making an assumption here, straight male author frequently writes queer women and queer female sex scenes, i.e. the Nevernight Chronicles, I find it disgustingly male gazy. I shouldn't even say women, because every gay female he writes is a teenager. What we have here in Empire of the Vampire is gratuitous hetero male fantasy posturing in the guise of fantasy literature. Ouch! Ouch! I have never read the Nevernight Chronicles. I haven't. So I did not know that there was FF in there. I'm going to... because of that, I'm now going to look at it because... yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. I don't know. But it makes me think that I want to read that book anyway. All right, let's see. Nearly all of the male characters are so offensively straight. There's some gay vampires in here. Not a lot, but there is some. I mean, does the whole book have to be them? Really? Okay. The effeminate vampire is painted in a borderline homophobic way. All the jokes in the book are straight boy macho bullshit, and the author also makes it a point to mention his world building, how sodomy is a sin. There are slurs galore within this book, but Kristoff also uses a few gay jabs as well. I thought that once, just one fucking time, Jay Kristoff would give us a queer male MC. Well, this is the first Jay Kristoff book I've ever read, so I wasn't expecting anything queer or otherwise. I didn't even know there was gay vampires in this book until I read it, and I was like, fuck, that's awesome. I mean, I recommended this book to one of my friends because there was gay vampires, because that was something she was looking for, and I was like, dope as fuck, have fun. Let's see, that's a really big paragraph. Let's see. Oh, now it's gonna get spoilerly. Okay, so we're just gonna move on to another review at this point. Let's see. Oh, this one says DNF 41%, basically throwing money away. So this one was DNF'd. What a waste of a gorgeous book cover. It is a gorgeous book cover. I wonder which edition they're looking at though, truthfully, because I think the Waterstone one is far sexier than this one. Just curious. I'm wondering why Robin Hobb, I love, and John Gwynn are bigging up this Purell flex of profanity, your mama wife jokes, and periods as an excuse for bitchiness referenced twice in the span of a few pages. My God, hi, the 90s called and they said that to tell you that the V health bashing is passe. I roll. I love the 90s call joke. That's funny. Yeah, they do use periods as an excuse for bitching, but I know a lot of males in my real life that fucking do that, and I'm not saying it's okay, but I mean, the guy eats a girl out on her period, so props. He also starts to devour her that way too, but you know, it happens. I mean, I'm not saying that it's an excuse to call a woman a bitch or assuming that she's being bitchy because of her period, but I know that I can turn into a bitch during my period. Like, I know I do. So in my case, sometimes it's true. Or I'm just naturally a bitch. Like, I mean, they could just be naturally a bitch. Moving on. Utterly boring, dogmatic pontification of a lazily disguised Catholic secret sect variety, but get this, with tattoos. Hello, Peter V. Brett would appreciate your standing via his social DMs. I feel like I'm supposed to know who that is, and I don't. Anyway. Sex referred to as sodomy, that means rape, in case anyone cares, a term which has been absolutely no bearing on what happens between consenting adults. Very, very accurate, yes. But yet underage sexting, problematic behavior exhibited by the sketchy adults in the first half of this book is part of the narrative. I shudder. I thought I'd be able to get through this, but it's really a litany of vulgarity, and I'm bored of how many times I have to read that Gabe is into women, or something about their milky thighs, or some serving woman thrall who reminds him of whoring or a brothel of something to that effect, and I've already turned out and forgotten. Oh, and of course, breasts. I like the snarkiness of this review. I do. I find it interesting. I get it, sort of. I mean, I thought Gabe took vows of chastity or some shit, so I don't really understand this continuous affirmation of het sex as a thing. In the story, chock full of nuns and brothers who cuss and quote scripture in the same breath, which by virtue is the absolute fucking opposite of sexy. Unless they like your fetish or something, right? I'm really mad that this book had a la carte potential, but it's really just two-dimensional vapid characters braying, bullying, and being insufferably boring. What? How are you bored? There was so much action in this book. Damn. There were 3 vampire fights at 40%. Action isn't always like fighting. There's like dialogue action, snarky comments. Like, that stuff's interesting, at least to me. Obviously not to this guy. And that's fine. That's cool. He does make some points. Like, he has some valid points here. There are better books to read. Definitely ones more superstitious about biting, Game of Thrones, White Walkers, and Lord of the Rings, love of the pipe. Oh, I think he's talking about the smoking part. Maybe? I don't know. All right. Oh, this one is a person who's read J. Kristoff before again. No, absolutely not. I'm not sure what made me pick up another J. Kristoff book after the dumpster fire that was never... Ouch. I need to stop believing the hype, but I get most of my exercise from jumping on bandwagons, so... That's a great joke. I like that. I might need to pawn that off because I say that a lot. That's great. I like it. I like the phrasing of that. I hated everything, but ouch. She hated everything about this book. The boring plot, the pretentious writing, the angsty main character, Gabriel, at least Edward Cullen sparkles. That's why Edward Cullen sucks, because he sparkles, okay? That's why he sucks. And of course, the female characters. Kristoff liberally uses the women in refrigerators trope just to make Gabriel extra broody, as if killing female characters is a prerequisite for the male protagonist's character development. The best decision I made in 2021 is DNFing this book at 15%? You missed so much of this book if you DNF'd at 15%. Shit. In hindsight, the best decision would have been not to start it in the first place, but it's too late for that. Ouch. Oh, that's painful. Ow. Okay, I'm done reading. I love this book. Some of these people made some valid points. Some of them did. And I love the fact that they were gutsy enough to put that out there. Props to you. If I read your review, props to you. I still love this book. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with me. I personally love this book. I love the action. I love the pace of it. I love the snarky comments, but that's my personality for sure. So I'm gonna show it some love. All right, moving on. Oh God, what's the next one? Oh shit. It's Outlander. It's Outlander. Oh God, this ought to be good. So by far, favorite book of all time. You guys know this. I probably should have saved it for the end of the video, but it's the next one in line. So we're gonna go with it. So here we go. Here is my Outlander 1-star reviews. Holy crap. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, this is a big, long one too. Oh crap. It's a long one. All right, let's see if we can go to one that's not, oh, this one has numbers. Let's see if they give me sections. Oh, they don't. Okay. Anyway, let's see. I gave up on this book because I was sustaining permanent damage from reading it, and I was afraid I'd start hitting back into borrow copies, so that wouldn't be cool. Well, thank you for not hating the book. Ouch. In fairness, I should say there's a lot of good writing here. I really enjoyed the beginning chapters. They even kind of cracked me up because I have friends who love genealogy, and their husbands always get that look when they start talking about it. And that's exactly how I imagine Claire looking when her husband's Frank started droning on and on about his ancestors. And Claire is a nurse, which is a really good transportable skill if you're going to be thrown back into time, which it turns out Claire is. Sorry, spoiler alert. Yes, by the way, if these are spoilers, I'm sorry. I have not pre-read these. I forgot to say that at the beginning. If they're spoilers, I'm sorry. Can you imagine if you were one of those nerds on wheels computers repair people and you got sent to the 18th century Scotland? You'd be totally screwed. Yeah, you're not wrong. Not wrong. But Claire's skills come in handy without seeming out of place. A woman who's a dab hand at healing is always welcome in olden times. So Claire is able to land on her feet and kind of get a job when she figures out what happened to her and comes to terms with it. Which is pretty much immediately, which is when the book started to lose me. There's like no culture shock whatsoever. Not wrong. Not wrong. There is a minor one, but not as big as coming from 1945. 1945. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, 1945 to 1743. There should be a much bigger culture shock. This one is not wrong on that. That is something that I did notice about the first time I read the book, but I didn't care because I love the story. All right, let's see. Before I lost my place. She gets knocked back 200 years or so. She goes, whoa, what the fliminy? I don't even know what that word is. Fliminy. I'll put it right here. Awesome. She starts being the lady to go to with 18th century Scottish boo-boos. That's it. Well, yeah, she's a nurse, so that's her job. That's the one she found. That suits her. That's a transportable skill. Kind of the whole purpose. Yeah. There are a few mention of things like how shoes fit differently back then and that anachronistic language. I don't know. Yeah, something about language. But there's no sense of the kind of thing a person from the future would be startled by. Not the food, not the weird underwear, nothing. Claire just settles in and starts being the resident nurse at a castle. She keeps half an eye out for a chance to get to the place that can take her back to the future, but it has all the deep emotional urgency that I feel when I really should stop by the grocery store on the way home, but I won't kill anybody if I go tomorrow instead, like what else? I don't necessarily agree because her husband was a historian, so I think she kind of already, like, I understand that there's trying to be more culture shock than actually experiencing it the first time, but she wasn't completely blind to a lot of this kind of stuff. Like, she knew a lot of this stuff already, so she kind of assumed that this was, once she realized what was going on, I think her, like, instincts of what she already knew took effect, because she was, many times in the book, she's like, what did I read? How did they do this back then? Because she knew that if she didn't have the way to do it her way, because, you know, doesn't exist right now, but she also had to kind of mimic to where it wouldn't look like witchcraft at the same time. So, and there were a few scenes about, you know, bed bugs and things like that, that she, you know, was kind of weirded out and grossed out about and things of that nature. But yes, there wasn't as much as maybe there should have been, but I feel like there was enough to get by, because that wasn't really, they needed to get the romance rolling. But I do understand how that can annoy somebody, for sure. If that's something, if your time travel is a big deal to you, I can see how that would bother somebody. Still, there was plenty to keep me interested, like leeches. The stuff about leeches was cool, and the info about healing herbs, and that kid getting his ear hammered to a board because he was caught stealing. I personally like that scene because I remember hearing that was something they used to do back then, and I thought that was crazy as fuck. So when I read in the book, I was like, bam. Really, this book will have worked fine for me if it hadn't been for what everybody else seems to love about it, which is the romantic interest. Okay. Which still would have been fine, even with the whole she's married already thingy. But okay, let's say that she has to marry that guy. They aren't in love when they get married, and so the whole point of the book is to watch the relationship develop. While Claire struggles with guilt and fear and thoughts of how her real husband must be worrying about her, and how the heck does time travel work in this book, and why is she just assuming that time is going by in the future at the same rate it is for her? Why, I ask you? Sorry, I'm a minor league nerd, and this is part really bugged me, okay? So time travel obviously is a huge thing for them, and I get it. So what I just described would have been a book I could read and enjoy, or at least read and not scream in pain. But apparently someone gave Diana Gabaldon the creepiest piece of writing advice ever, and it was this. Listen, you know how if you're cooking and you're worried it's not turning out very well, just add bacon if it's savory and chocolate chips if it's sweet, and everybody will love it. Well, if you're working on your first novel and you don't know what to have happen next, just throw in some rape, or attempt to rape works like a charm. She follows his advice to the letter, and I'm sorry, but I have to go home now. Could this book have successfully been done without the rape? I think the strength of it, yes. But I feel to really hate Black Jack Randall because he is the descendant or the ancestor of her husband. I mean, we really have to polarize him. She went with the shock value moment, and the way she handled that scene, I thought she handled very, very well. And she carries it through the series because rape was prevalent back then. It was something that happened. And the fact that she had it with a male and attempted with a female, I thought that was pretty gutsy of her for a first-time novelist, for sure. And yes, that scene is very, very hard to read and digest, and it's very, very visual and graphic. But I thought she handled it very, very well. So some people, triggers, there's no shame in having a trigger like that. Absolutely none. But the time travel thing definitely was an issue for them, for sure. I managed to read she disobeys him, so he beats her with his belt scene. I also punched the book right in the face, but as I said, it's a friend's copy, so I had to be okay. Then I managed to get through the she forgives him for beating like the next freaking day scene. I started fantasizing about this book getting stuck in the elevator of a burning building, but I was able to hold on and keep going. Damn. Ouch. Then there was a scene where big kilted oaf, Jamie starts laughing about the whole beating thing and reminiscing about how hot she looked when he was holding her down, beating the crap out of her, and she forgives him for that too, like instantly. And I'm all like, who am I and what am I doing here? Okay. I still staggered on, heaven only knows why. And how did the author reward me for my perseverance with this book at all? What is this book all about? What's the recurring literary theme? Rape, attempted rape, more attempted rape, marital rape, and a little more marital rape, conversation about rape, giggling during conversations about rape. And I'm out, and I'm out of here, and I don't care how many of my friends hate me. I read 444 pages in a row, plus I skimmed a lot of the rest, including the creepiest, rapiest Chekhov's gun I've ever seen fired. Do not tell me I didn't give this book a fair chance. I totally did. I do agree. If you read 444 pages, I think you gave it a fair shot, and if it wasn't for you, I totally understand. The themes in this book are difficult to read and tolerate for some people, and I appreciate your candor and guts for giving it as much as you did. This is much longer, so we're going to move on to a new one because, yeah. Let's see. Okay, here's a shorter one. Here, I'm going to rewrite the scene that ruined this book for me. Jamie, some Highlander for the 1740s. Claire, you didn't listen to what I said. You disobeyed me, your husband. You risked everyone's lives, and I'm going to punish you for your misbehavior. Yes, I know the evil man abused you and nearly raped you, but that was your own fault. I love you, I really do, and I don't enjoy this, but people expect me to give you this punishment you deserve. Claire, an educated woman from 1940s. Jamie, first of all, rape is never the victim's fault, and now you better listen, because I'm going to say this just once. If you'd ever raise your hand against me, if you ever hurt me, I will and promise this. I will make this marriage a living hell for you. From now until the bitter end, I swear to God that you will regret it. Jamie, some Highlander from the 1740s who knows better than to disrespect his wife. You're right, Claire. I'm very sorry. Forgive me. Yep. Since that's not what happened, it took all the fun out of it for me. I won't be able to continue this book and forget what happened. I don't like the way this relationship is portrayed as a healthy one, or how Jamie's a man and a husband that teenage girls and women swoon over. We should all know better than this. Oh, that's just an ad. Well, short, sweet, straight to the point. Got it. I have a feeling all of these are about the rape scene. I have a feeling. Here's the one time when the show is better than the book. I've not seen the show. I cannot agree or disagree. A man after the pitch I've heard about this book from basically every female reader I've ever met, I was expecting something that was not this. Fairly offensive, needlessly graphic, and smutty in that skeevy way, rather than a hot way. At one point, Jamie punishes Claire for disobeying him by literally spanking her, which was treated as perfectly understandable and was quickly dismissed. I know that I cringed throughout the entire thing and found it hard to believe that any relatively modern woman would have to put up with it, especially as Claire is supposed to be extremely well educated, capable, and professional. I honestly find it hard to believe that there's 5 more books of this and then that people read them. This was written in 2007, so just a heads up, this one was written in 2007. That said, I have read worse romance books, but the fact that Gabaldon dragged the novel out across nearly 900 pages just makes me cranky. Ugh. Okay, so they keep factoring on the fact that Jamie punishes Claire for disobeying him, and I get that. I get she's a modern woman, 1945 woman, where husbands still beat their fucking wives, by the way. It's just now they could be arrested for it if the woman said anything, or they found somebody actually willing to press charges. Okay? Still fucking happens, still happens today. Like, the beating of a wife never stopped. It just declined a little bit, and now it's done more in secret. You know, like, I get it. I get that this is a fucking thing, but modern day, 1945, she's educated, but she's also thrown back into 1743, where this kind of behavior was completely acceptable. It was completely acceptable. It was not batted an eye at whatsoever. And at that point, she doesn't know how to get home. She tried and she couldn't get through. And she fell through the stones originally. She tried to get back and she couldn't because it wasn't open. So it's only open at like certain time periods or things of that nature. So she kind of didn't have to go with the flow. She could have made it fucking difficult for Jamie. Yeah, she could have. And he would have made it worse for her. Want to know why? Because that was accepted back then. Women were second-class citizens for a long fucking time. And so I get why people are pissed off. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I do not condone violence against women. But when you're putting it in a historical framework, You have to talk about the nitty gritty and the gross and the deplorable to understand why this was such a big fucking deal to come back this time. You're 1945, okay? World War II has just ended. Yeah, ended. Fuck, I don't remember right now off the top of my head. So, like, I get it, but still. Yeah, I'm done. I feel like the rest of these are just pretty much about rape and beating. I think a lot of the people at 1-stars have a problem with that, and there's historical framework to it, and it's supported historically framework. I mean, she did her research on this book. Did she use some shocking value? Yeah, she fucking did. There's no denying that. There's no denying she shocked people for sure with this one. So, all right, the next one. A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Oh crap. I do have a full reading vlog of this book, of me reading it, and I'll link it over here in the corner for you. This book ripped my heart out and handed it to me and then shoved it back in my chest and said, here, let's do it again. It's fun. So here's some 1-star reviews of this guy. Oh Lord, that's a super duper long one. Holy crap, that's a long one. All right, let's see. That's kind of a long one too, but we'll go, this one's not as long. Okay, this is actually, so it's a 1-star on Goodread, but they put in their review actually a 1/2 star. Okay, 1/2 star. This was a buddy read with some awesome ladies. If you think I'm being unfair and this book is all kinds of awesomeness, Jen is your girl. And if you agree with me on the series being overhyped for no apparent reason, Mary is our girl. Mary and I agree on so many things, it's ridiculous. First of all, this is marked as high fantasy. You have got to be kidding me. Brandon Sanderson and J.K. Rowling are somewhere sipping tea and laughing at this bullshit. Compared to Brandon Sanderson, completely agree. J.K. Rowling, yeah, okay, yeah. If you compare it to them, well, yeah, I get that. But I think there's levels of high fantasy. It might be in the lower area of, like, high fantasy's this. It might be here. It might be closer to this cusp, but I think it's still high fantasy. You know, new world, everything, you know, there's nothing authentic about this at all. It's all completely fantasized. So I've skimmed through the entire book, and I still have no clue why this is so popular. A court of blah blah is boring as hell. Characters are infuriating and tiresome. They possess no unique or remarkable qualities. Quiet on the contrary, actually. I think we all agree it's just plain wrong if a middle-aged man tries to get into a teenager's pants, but it's all hotness if you stretch the age gap from decades to centuries. That's funny. I like it. Sex scenes were laughable and cringeworthy. I call this erotica for children. Don't look at me. I'm not the one who wrote it. Laughable and cringe? What? I love the end scene. Oh, when he does the finger thing, he's like, I just really wanted to do this. And he inserts them and then licks them off. I'm like, oh, fucking puddle. I was a puddle. I was not cringing at all. I was turned the fuck on. Thank you very much. The writing was monotonous and I don't even want to think about this. Plot, was there any? Whatever it was, I found it painfully predictable. Really? I didn't predict this one at all. I did not. And I knew it was a Hades Persephone retelling, so I kind of, or a loose one. But I did not expect that fucking twist. Who? No, I did not. No, and that broke my heart. It broke me. It broke me. It's on the video. It broke me. Surely I can't be the only one who finds the term mate utterly ridiculous. I was dying laughing every time it was mentioned. Just couldn't take it seriously. Sorry, not sorry. There also seems to be a new trend in SJM's books. I wonder what goes on in her head. I bet something like this. My snowflake already has 12 love interests. How can I possibly add another to this never-ending list? Oh, there's a clever idea. If he is her mate, no one will dare question me. Pats her own back. I really am a cheat. That's fucking brutal. Ouch. I called all those shocking twists before the book was even out. Deep down, I was hoping this would prove me wrong, but sadly, I remain right. Really? I mean, I knew Reeson was a big deal. Like, I knew there was more to him, but I didn't see the big twist. I didn't. So, props to you for seeing that. Props. Party. This is the most overrated piece of crap I've ever attempted to read. I mean, do people really find this appealing? Oh, well, I try. But there is good news. This book was a gift, which means I didn't spend a penny on it. But my local bookstore is willing to trade this for Gemina. I was going to write a long-ass rant about how terrible this book is, but I just don't have the time. Gotta go pick up my baby. Hannah, don't disappoint me, girl. Here I come. Updates. What's with everyone snarling all the time? Who has an ebook? Someone look up how many times the word snarl was used. Someone actually checked and it was used 50 plus times. I mean, you do the math. Okay, overused words is kind of annoying, and they did use snarl a lot. They did. She did, for sure. I 100% agree with that. But somebody actually counted it. That's hysterical. Oh, and give me a fucking break already. The main character be like, I live in a castle with my super hot fiance who loves the shit out of me. Ugh. And now I'm super beautiful and strong and shit. Could my life get any worse? Oh my god, she's so annoying. If I were Tamlin, I'd throw her ass back on the street. About recent, he hasn't shown up yet, but if he sees any potential in this chick, I don't know, man. Those were updates. That's funny. That one was comical. Oh god. All right, here we go. Update. The more I think about it... Okay, this is the start of a new review. I'm pretty sure. Let me make sure. Yeah, it's the start of a new review. Okay. Update. The more I think about it, the more I realize I don't enjoy anything about this book at all, so it's more suited to be a 1-star. The original review. This book was 600 plus pages of slog to get through. I understand how people would consider the sequel to be an improvement since the main character shows more agency and certain tropes are reversed, but the development was very on the nose and came at the expense of turning other characters into cartoonish villains. I didn't think it was very cartoony, but yeah, I do understand that. Yeah, I get it. The writing suffered a lot from telling and not showing, especially when it came to the dialogue, where it mostly consisted the main character asking questions, which would result in other fairies answering via several pages of monologues in order to tell the exposition and characters' background stories. You're not wrong. You're not. I loved all that stuff because I love that meat and detail, but you're not fucking wrong. You're not. This would be fine if I cared about anything in the book at all, but I don't. People hype this book up to be some trashy erotica, but there are only 2 sex scenes toward the end. Otherwise, the book is just very boring fantasy story. I do agree that this is not a spice book, but the romance, when I look at spice, like the actual smut level, there is not a lot of carnality in this, but there's a lot of innuendo, there's a lot of taunting, there's a lot of building of that layering effect, which I do build into my spice. So I do think this is a spicy book, but not for straight carnality. It's spicy because there's a lot of innuendo and layering for me. So I do agree that some people overhype the sex in this book. Don't get me wrong, carnality scenes are fucking dope, and I think fire, but they are fire because of all the buildup that I got prior to it. If you did not give me that buildup, some of those, they wouldn't have been as hot as they were. I do kind of agree with that. Let's see. This is kind of a long one. Moving on. Let's find a short one. Ish. Oh my god, some of these, wow. These are just what I expected. And it's a picture of Buzz Lightyear. There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere. DNF, seriously, anyone who managed to finish this book deserves an award. Thank you! That's me. Thanks. Where's my award? And I want a cookie. All right. Oh, this is a long one. And that one has spoilers for sure because they have bleeped out stuff. I don't want spoilers. All right, let's see if I can find one more for this guy. Oh, that's a fucking spoiler one. That is spoilery. More reviews and ratings. Let's see. Are you still 1 star? Yes, we are. We're still 1 stars. Yes. Yeah. All right. Pre-review. I'm positive that there will be a love triangle in the sequel. And here we are, a very spot-on review. Another review, go into it. 44 pages into the story, and I found this review to be far more entertaining than the book itself. Ouch. I wonder what that review says. Note, in the upcoming review, I will continue to use photos from Jean Cocteau's movies, not because Sarah J. Maas' creation deserves to be put in the same place with Cocteau. I'm not pronouncing that guy's name right. Here it is. grand works of art, but because his movies deserve more viewing. Fair enough. Important note 1. Be alerted. Cassandra Clare, your position as the mighty queen of inconsistency and the creator of terrible romance and unlikably Mary Sue's is now threatened to be a worthy challenger, and the name of this worthy challenger is Sarah J. Maas. Ouch. Fuck. Ow. Important note number 2. I don't have many good things to say about Leigh Bardugo's YA novels and her writing, but I feel bad for her book, Crooked Kingdom, for losing the 2016 Best YA Fantasy Award to A Court of Mist and Fury, because I honestly can't see how Bardugo could do a worse job than SJM here. I have never read Crooked Kingdom, so I can't acknowledge that, but damn. Important note number 3. Okay, guys, the epic, crossed out, infamous sex scene, which makes mountains tremble, is right there at page 533. It actually isn't as graphic as I once feared. Still, trust me, I haven't read my share of demon sex, alien sex, monster sex, supernatural sex for free on few erotica websites, but I don't remember any of those sex has mountains trembled in their wake. Important note number 4. Be alerted that this review contains unmarked spoilers for the ending of the first book and this book itself. Important number 5. I felt my hope to humanity dying after Wilde reminded me of this. And to think SJM is writing a Catwoman novel in 2018, there is no righteousness in this world, none. Ouch. Ow. I can hardly believe it. In my review of the previous book of this series, I mentioned the last 100 plus pages of ACOTAR is the good part of the story. The first 290 pages are bad. But now, within the first 130 pages of ACOMAF, Miss Moss has already managed to undo the good things she created in those last 100 pages in the prequel. Remember Beauty and the Beast? In this fable, the beauty got to look beyond the beast's ugly and frightening appearance and saw the man within who is still wrath redeeming and worth redeeming and loving. Turns out this does not happen in Feyre's relationship with Tamlin. Turns out Feyre doesn't know Tamlin very well. She hasn't seen anything outside the High Lord's masked face and his beautiful male flesh. Talking about beautiful male flesh, we actually have some here. Turns out there isn't much in their relationship outside a raging sex drive and lust. In Beauty and the Beast finally puts his selfishness aside because a willing sacrifice himself in exchange for Beauty's happiness. Turns out this does not happen to Tamlin, but because Mrs. Moss decided to give him a 180-degree personality shift, undoing the sacrifice he made at the end of ACOTAR, leaving his choice of letting Feyre to go to be accounted for nothing. Turns out Tamlin also doesn't know much about Feyre. He never acknowledges or respects her strength and personality, and it sucks. It sucks so much. So now you think I'm team Rhys? No, because Rhys has become so much of a boring, can do no wrong saint in this book that I can't stand. You're not wrong. Not to mention, it's okay for Rhys to drug Feyre after having her dancing half naked in front of everyone, unable to resist anything that is done to her or her control over her body in the previous book. No big deal, really, because Rhys is hot. And no, in Miss Moss's mind, there's no such thing as the heroine staying single and getting on with her life independently. No nap, nada. I have a feeling this novel will be such a feast of fuckery. Ouch. And it says, my review of the prequel, my actual review starts here. Shit. Holy crap. Yeah, we're not going into that. Damn. Oh, shit. Is this still the same one? Feyre, you don't get to play with the man's heart and love for you. You don't get to break his heart and then tell him you still love him. I don't care if he did you wrong. You have absolutely no right to fuck up the life of a man whose life is already fucked up enough without you playing with him. You do realize that he went through hell under the mountain, don't you? You weren't the only one. Learning empathy, what he did was wrong, but you got rid of those problems and got better. No matter that, the way you got better was via the very common medicine in YA, aka love cures all. Not wrong. Didn't you? You loved him, so why would you want to hurt him in a place from where there's no coming back? Don't give me an excuse, bitch. You could have gotten out of there without doing what you did. You just wanted drama, selfishness, and heartlessness on top of stupidity. I'm out of here. I don't want to continue reading about your sex life, which I believe is the most important concern of your life. I mean, there's a war brewing, but who cares? First, Feyre needs to fuck Rhys and shake the earth. I'm shook. I wish I listened to all those people who told me that this series is a waste of time and brain cells. Now I've lost quite a lot of both of those things. Forgive me, for I'm sorry to not have heeded your warning. You're the wisest people I know. No offense to the ones who did like it. Thank you, thank you. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. In no way do I demean the fans of this series. People can have a difference in opinion, yet continue to be harmonious relationship. Your opinion has no less value. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that. On that note, we're going to move to the next book. I still like this fucking book. I still like it. The next one we have here is A Touch of Darkness by Scarlett St. Clair. Holy crap. Let's find some good ones, all right? Let's find some good ones. This is hella fun. Oh, that's not long. Okay. Let's see. I'm incapable of writing this review without a few minor spoilers. Okay, we're going to heads up. There's some spoilers in this one. Not a lot, just enough to hopefully make you not want to read this book. Also, big thanks to Aaliyah for reading this with me. This book was terrible, but our collective rants made it worth it. Don't you just love that? I love, even though you might hate a book, ranting about it with your friends or ranting about it with somebody who loved the book and that dialogue that you foster, I fucking love that shit. I do enjoy that. So I'm glad you got to enjoy that with your friend at the expense of this book. Even though I love this book, I'm glad that you got to enjoy that. Subjective grade, 30%. Plot, 15%. Writing and dialogue, 60%. World building, 40%. Character development, 20%. And character relationships, 5%. 3 chili peppers out of 5. Don't we love books that step outside the norms with their characters? The I don't go to parties because they're beneath me main character, so unique. Unnecessarily female rivalry. I've never seen this trope before. The sassiest best friend with more personality than the protagonist and love interest combined. Whoa, mind-blowing. Okay, no, seriously, let's elaborate on the plainness of these characters. The personality distribution between Lex and Persephone was absolutely jarring. Quote, she was a fashionista with a sleeve of tattoos. She was also a witch and a gamer. That's a direct line from the book. Miss Girl, what? Yeah, just make up for having the most boring main character in NA history, new adult history, by stereotyping the shit out of her best friend. That'll do. I love the snarkiness of this one. Relationships or lack thereof. I'm sorry, but the relationship between Hades and Persephone is so one note. What? So they play one game of rock, paper, scissors, 5 explicit sex scenes, and now all of a sudden we're supposed to ship the shit out of them? No, ma'am. No, we do not. I did. I'm not yours. I'm not your darling. We've been through this, haven't we? You are mine. I think you know that just as well as I do. Yes. Persephone being borderline objectified. Love that. Such a cute couple. Hades and his handbag Persephone. Well, you know, in this book, I liked Hades far more, so I kind of agree with that. Persephone is just a handbag. She's just kind of there. I'm there for Hades. Let's just be honest. I read that Hades is the star of this book for me. Quote, tell me you've never been naked with a man, he said. Tell me I'm the only one. She cupped his face, searching his eyes, and answered, you are. Yeah. I bet $10 that if Persephone said, well, my body count is 10, Hades would have left right then and there, which is weird because Hades can do whatever he wants with anyone, right? I call sexism. You're not wrong. Also, why is that smutty romance books read predominantly by women always have female main characters that gasp at the concept of sex? The math is definitely not mathing. What was okay about this book, since saying what was good is an overstatement? Persephone, your mother's dynamic. It was actually relatable and the only genuine thing I could find about this book. But since it isn't a large part of this book, the relationship didn't make up for all the nonsense going on. But it becomes a further plot line later on down the road. It's just, that's the intro to it. And then it keeps fostering as it goes. So, there you go. The smut. Don't look at me, okay? I'm human. I like it. Overall, A Touch of Darkness was just not it. Not worth it and definitely not continue with the series. 11 hours of my life wasted listening to this book. 1.5 stars. I have read a lot of good books in the past year, and let me tell you, this was definitely not one of them. Pre-reading thoughts. I've got no expectations for this book. Laugh aloud. Head completely empty. Ouch. That's brutal. That's brutal. That's a super long one. This book was ... addictive, but also in need of some serious editing. Okay. Short, simple, straight to the point. There you go. Let's see. Okay, so first, I just want to give a shout out to Bookstagram and Book Talk for really doing me dirty on this one. Y'all got me good with what With that said, I did not enjoy this book. Now, don't get me wrong, for the first half, I was having fun with the story, but past that point, I very quickly realized that this just wasn't it. I'm going to have to break down my critiques here because honestly, my thoughts are just all over the place, and I need to be organized about this. Profanity, spoilers, and general frustration to follow. You have been warned. So we have grammar, syntax, world building, characters, the plot, holy shit, the sex, the romance, miscellaneous thoughts. Let's go to the sex. Yes, I am dedicating a whole section of this review to the sex in this book because reasons. I want to start this off by saying I'm not usually a critical reader of smut. In fact, I can't really think of many instances where I've thought much of how sex is being written in a book, past some placement issues in books like Court of Wings and Ruin and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. However, A Touch of Darkness, pretty much every sex scene I felt weirdly rushed in both the sense of not taking up a lot of the page time, but also in descriptions. I get not everyone's cup of tea is having super descriptive and drawn out sex in books, and I can't say I'm a fan of that either, but it nonetheless seemed like an odd writing choice to make it a book hinged more so on the romance and smut than on actual plot. I just feel like since this is first and foremost a steamy romance read, then why not commit to going all the way out on the sex scenes? I don't disagree with that in this installment. I do not disagree with that at all. Let's do the romance one too. Romance. Perhaps the biggest letdown for me with this book is that I really never reached a point where I actively cared about Hades and Persephone getting together. In this book, I agree. Persephone's kind of whiny in this one. She is. I don't really feel like I got to see them interact enough on personal level for an attraction to be there. And there was even a point in the last fourth of the book where Persephone remarks on spending several weeks with Hades, in which he plays with children and builds them a playground, and that during this time she connects with him. And then she gives an excerpt of that for the book. Rather than having been told this, I would have liked to have seen this development in Hades and Persephone's relationship because it just seems like it could have really added some depth to their attraction for each other. I would agree. I'd agree with that one. All right, let's find another one. Ooh, this is basically an unedited, underdeveloped Greek mythology smut. This book is the worst parts of 50 Shades and Lore Olympus had a baby. I'm gonna disagree on that one. I don't really get 50 Shades at the fuck all, except for the dominance level. I don't see 50 Shades in this at all. It was just terrible in every aspect, and I will never understand how this even got published in the first place. Insta-love? Check. Cringy dialogue? Check. Really dry plot? Check. I mean, what plot? Bad writing? Check. One-dimensional characters? Check. Please! I didn't even expect much from this book. All I wanted was to read some trashy romance story with a decent writing, but this was so bad, I'm about to cry. I guess I'm just not the target audience for this one. I guess not. That happens. This is not for me. I am not usually a fan of urban fantasy, paranormal, and this book sadly was everything I do not like. Simply the tropes were used in this novel was too much and not enough at the same time. The plot was very lackluster, the characters felt very flat, and motivation they had made sense. But it wasn't enough to actually carry the story. Scarlett St. Clair's writing style was not my cup of tea. It felt like I read not particularly good fan fiction. Ouch. Ew. Well, this next one's in Spanish, so I'm going to stop there. And we're going to do the last book of this because I'm starting to get a headache. My head's starting to hurt. My heart's starting to break. I haven't cried yet, though. All right. So all those books I read previously last year. So I decided to pick a book that I read this year as well. And that is Christina Marziatis' Haunt. Here we go. Christina, please do not take any of these seriously. I just want to see what they say. Know that I still love you and I love your book. It's my baby. So I need to specify this, that I love this book. So this is going to be hard. All right. That's a hella fucking long one. That one's not too bad. Okay, here we go. I really wanted to like this book. When it arrived in the mail, a thick tome promising a gritty story of love and survival in the West, I was quick to tear into it over the holidays. In my opinion, this book was more of a first draft. I hope the author keeps writing as she clearly has a great imagination and ideas, but this was so fraught with cliche and poor writing technique. I can't bear to finish it. What? That being said, I'm a diehard Western fanatic, so I may have just strayed too far from my interest with this choice. Also, this was my first romance novel, so I'm not an expert critique by any means. or expert critic by any means. I know there was a fan base for this sort of thing, so perhaps I simply chose the wrong title. Regardless, here are the main issues that made me give up on the narrator after 3/4 of the book. Well, you missed the best fucking part then, dude. You missed it. 1, again, as a massive fan of Westerns, my main letdown was the setting. The author either did little research in the Western genre or was not able to properly portray the world she sought. It certainly had the classic Western tropes, bandits, hat, pistol, horse, heat, whiskey, but there was little beyond that. This is, of course, a very particular pain point, but for anyone looking for Westerns, you better be off elsewhere. The only other Western author I've ever read was Larry McMurtry. So when I did my review of this, and I do have a full book review for this, and I'll link it up here in the corner, as well as Curse, which is the second book in the series. So I'll link that playlist up there. I did say that I didn't understand, like, I didn't really see a lot of Western. I just saw very stereotypical tropes, but based off of the only Western I ever read, which was Larry McMurtry. So I kind of see this one. 2, adjectives galore and the strange overuse of the word caustically. Fuck. I said the same thing. I did. No shit. Damn. Although I love the adjective of glory. I loved her description, but I commented on the caustic word. I did comment on that. Stuff with adjectives, that use of many words is possible to paint a very limited image in my mind as a reader. It's limited. I saw a huge image with all the descriptions she gave, so I don't agree with that. I don't even know what to say about the word caustically, but at one point it was used twice in a single paragraph and seemingly incorrect at one point. I did happen to see sometimes that too. I did point that out in my review. It's one of those things where once a reader sees a pattern, they can't unsee it. Yeah, enough so that when I read Curse, I actually started counting how many times I saw the word. But it does get alleviated and everything. So if the person who wrote this review sees this, give this thing another shot. She will blow your mind. Trust me, she will. You got to finish the book though. You got to finish it. 3, dialogue. It doesn't seem to match the character speaking. It's often flat and simply used to push the narrative along. In a single word, I would describe it as awkward. It's a tough thing to write dialogue for Western setting, but again, that comes down to research. I suggest studying McCarthy or McMurtry for examples on an excellent dialogue for this place and time. I wanted more dialogue in this first book, so I love the way these fucking characters talk, so, okay. Exposition, like too many adjectives, exposition is relatively elementary error, but one that can be overlooked. Sometimes there's no avoiding exposition, but it came at such strange moments, I found myself setting the book down in frustration. I don't agree with that at all. I don't. I think you did fine. I think you did great. Yeah. The characters, from the horse to the protagonist to the love interest, I will not long remember these characters. It has been a week since I stopped reading, and I can't even remember the main character's name. I think for me, it came down to motivation. I did not understand the motivation of the characters, and therefore I lost interest in what they were doing and seeking. Because you didn't finish the book. You gotta finish it. It all makes sense. It does. It does. Okay, here's a new one. Unfortunately, I really struggled to read this. The idea sounded interesting, but 754 pages of inconsistent writing style, sporadic, overly detailed description and dialogue that did not match the character development or move on the action was far too much. I don't agree with that. I don't. I think she did a great fucking job. Let's see. I barely got past the trigger warnings. That's one of the reasons I picked up the fucking book. I'm not faint-hearted, but this book promises to have everything in it from bad to worse. Just the sheer number of things to be warned about was overwhelming and suggested it's a somewhat disorganized book. I wouldn't know. I quit partway through chapter 1. What? Okay, let me just, all right. Okay. This is chapter 1. This, right here. You stopped at halfway through. What did you read? 3 pages? What? Like, the first chapter's only... Fuck, I don't... What's... The number's not there. The first chapter's only 8 pages. It's only 8. 8. Like 4, double-sided. Like, it's not even 8 full fucking pages. fucking 4 pages double-sided, making 8. You're just Christ, I can do math. Trust me, I can. What? The writing is, to put it generously, difficult, long run on sentences, strange and confusing sentence structure, and vague sense that I'm reading something poorly translated. What? Oh, no, you did not read enough. You did not read enough. I read a well-written, intriguing, thought-provoking book about the horrors of life and the worst things people can do to each other, but I'm not going to slog through bad writing to get there. Ouch! Ouch! You get 4 pages? Damn! Ouch! This was a giveaway book, and I never slogged through a book so hard. I almost quit it last 20%, but hoped the end would redeem itself. It almost did, and then it failed. If this is supposed to be a series, then this is the most depressing first book ever. Oh my God. It is depressing. It's supposed to be fucking depressing. The series title is called Love Lighting. Does it sound like pleasant? Like, it's called Haunt and Love Letting. Like, come the fuck. Okay. The only redeeming quality is the idea was a good one. Theoretically, the execution was horrendous, but just in my opinion, I have never not thought to continue a series, no matter how much it bugged me. I will not be continuing. You're missing out. Missing out. The writing was overly detailed and not in a Tolkien or King way. The characters rapidly changed in inexplicable ways and had minimal redemption. The only thing I truly enjoyed was the poish use of ravens. I thought the characters had growth and there's a whole, you literally have a character who starts as like a good guy and he turns into a fucking douchebag. Okay? You have growth, we have redemption, and there's a fucking shit ton of characters, and there's more to this story. Like, oh my God, this is just the intros to them. Oh, that is actually the, hold on, is there one more? Okay, this is the last one on this page. Really not my cup of tea. There wasn't enough of plot to warrant the length of this book. Too many repeated phrases and dialogue didn't always match the era and place this book was meant to portray. I did indeed read it all, but it was a struggle and in my view, not worthwhile one. Ouch. No. This thing would, I do not agree. I do not agree. I do not. I don't. Oh my God, that was painful. That was probably the most painful one I had to deal with. Oh man. Oh my God. No. Those are all the reviews that I'm reading, guys, because now my heart's broken and I'm pissed off. Because these are my babies, okay? These are my babies. My babies. All of them. See, my babies right here. These are my babies, okay? Thank you for the people who left those reviews. I'm sure the authors will take them into consideration and I don't know, maybe they'll use them. But I genuinely love all of these books. I gave every single one of these books 5 stars. I actually gave this one 4 stars to begin with because I did find some of the same issues like caustic and, you know, I wanted more dialogue. But I have not shut up about this book. Haven't shut the fuck up about it. And so because of that, because it stays with me, it stayed with me. I don't like all of these have stayed with me. These are my babies. My babies. So that was hard. That was, I hope you guys enjoyed my suffering. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you want to actually try something good, from my opinion, you are not going to go wrong with either of these books. You're not. This is a first installment. This is a first installment. This is a first installment. You do have to read Akawar, or ACOTAR to understand this book. So please be aware this is a sequel and this is a first installment. All of these are installments to great series. Okay. I have no problem with any one of these books. I've continued on with each of these series. I mean, this one, the next book's coming out next year. So I will definitely be continuing with it. So that's the only reason why, but I do plan on continuing with it. I had a good time with all of these. Those reviews, to each his own. To each his own. People have different opinions and they are allowed to voice their own opinions. I mean, that's kind of how we get dialogues going, but I don't necessarily agree with all of mine. When I did agree, I stated it, but some of those, you didn't give enough time. Some of those, you missed out on some of the beauty of the book because you didn't finish it. Sometimes you gotta slog through. Sometimes the ending is worth everything. And some of these, you missed out. You missed out on some of them because you didn't finish it. So That's one reason why I don't like DNFing books. It takes a lot for me to DNF a book. It is hard for me to DNF a book. Because I know that authors can turn stuff around at the end or give me something else that just blows my fucking mind. And this one, read it to the fucking end. Okay? Just read it to the end. You won't regret it. You won't. All right. That is my reactions to negative reviews of some of my favorite books. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was worth it. It's an hour-long video, so I'm going to sign off, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys all soon with another video. Congratulations if you made it this far. I'm in pain. I'm going to go have a drink. Bye, guys.